Sure.
Right. Yeah.
Okay, let me just introduce you real quick. By the way, guys, um, in with this series that I've been inviting different champions from different regions, I thought about like, hey, wait a minute, we don't have enough champions in North America aside from Punk and Knuckle Do, but I think I talk to them quite often. But then I talked to somebody from Europe, I talked to somebody in Asia. Wait, how come I'm not talking to somebody that I think is like top five in the world, who's like so talented and so amazing, comes from a very strong region of Street Fighter Five? Fuck, man, I gotta talk to MenaRD, dude. So MenaRD is
Right.
like definitely like was there to start of Street Fighter Five, and he's blossomed and basically introduced us Birdie to the world. Like Birdie was never considered a strong character. Like there was like a one point in the meta of Street Fighter Five with the North American scene and Asian scene that that Nikali actually beat Birdie. Okay, and then in SCR, I saw Mena. It's like asking him like, "Hey man, um, like you could beat Nikali?" It's like, "Yeah, pretty easy." I was like, "What?" So I saw this guy, and this guy was just so confident and was so good. I love his energy. He was just so passionate about the game. Reminds me a lot of like when I go to Mexico or to go to Philippines, like different regions that are like are so passionate about the game and how they want to win. When I saw that, on him, like I was instantly a fan because MenRD was just unbelievable. And my friend Hyro actually is like a super fan of MenRD. So by the way, guys, yeah, here we go, MenRD.
No.
But yeah, dude, I'm really happy about that you actually decided to come to the stream. It's like I really wanted to know about your input. I do think that you're one of the rare players in the game that can play like so many characters in a very high level. You've actually played your different characters in CPT, Street Fighter League, and it was really nice, to see that.
It's this is a funny situation because I I still think I have a lot to learn from you. Like I don't think I'm at your level yet as a player at all. So you telling me all of this just I don't even know what to say. It's such an honor for
No,
you
no,
tell me I'm talented and stuff. Like
you're
it's
too
amazing.
good. No, no, you're too good. Like I mean, obviously,
Oh,
when I watch, it's like it's kind of like Punk. I saw Punk play. It's like, man, this guy is just absolutely insane. Like, and you like, there's like very few players that I've seen that's like so talented and so amazing. It's like you, Knuckledew, and Punk. You three basically were like the absolute next generation. So before there was like the John Troy, Alex Vi. I don't know the generation before that because I wasn't playing fighting games. Those guys like a super legends. Daigo, those guys, right? Then after them, I'm not saying they went away, but they did more a lot of like life stuff. They got married, they got kids. You know what I mean? Or focus on other projects. And then the next, so obviously Justin Wong happened, then Ricky Ortiz, and so that's their generation, right? Taquito and those guys, Mago, that's their generation. And then after that, the generation was like me, Chris G, PR Barrog. So that's kind of like our generation. So after our generation, like it was like Knuckle Do, but then it was like Knuckle Do CJ Truth. But then Street Fighter
mm.
5 happened right away, and it was like Punk, then you, and I was just like, man, this is so sick. It's like every region and every generation, there's always like a few talented like guys that excels beyond. Like it was actually insane. Like I can honestly say that you dominate your region, right?
Maybe yeah.
Honestly say that because you every time you go to United States or anywhere else, people have to worry about you. People train for you. Okay, like we go to Japan, people lab birdie just for you. Fudo had to learn birdie so they can have a birdie that they can fight with. That's when you know you're a problem. So it's like, man. So there's like very few players like in general that actually dominate. Like Problem X, for instance. Like that guy. You it's like so you guys are just insane. And I went away for like 2.5 years, but then when I came back, I was like, shit, nothing happened, nothing changed, huh? It's still Mena RD, it's still Punk. I'm saying I don't know what happened 2.5 years that I've been gone. Like it's like it was just crazy. I thought there would be like a few guys that would rise to the occasion and give you guys problems. I mean, in general, but they still you guys are like super consistent, super strong. I mean, not to mention item as well. But yeah, you guys are just excelled beyond. But in the same time, the reason why I brought you in because I would like to talk to you about the meta of Street Fighter Five. What do you think has changed from season 3 to season 5 now?
I think the game used to be. I mean, it is still an offense heavy game, but before, you didn't really need to win neutral to win the round, and that was wrong. You know, like it was so easy to rob everybody, and winning neutral didn't really mean anything because any turn that I get a random wake up throw, a random jab, I could win the round, and that wasn't okay. Now I think it's harder. You can still do it, but it's very hard, especially because you have more options now. Like with the B Chief, a lot of characters like Mika, like Laura that had 50-50 with the command grab.
Mhm.
Now they have to think about more options. Now the Yomi has to be stronger. Also, neutral. The game is more neutral heavy now because most normals are nerfed. So you can whiff punish easier, and you have to be more careful about throwing out normals. Like Birdie before, he used to do a lot of buttons, and it was really hard to whiff punish him. Now I have to play a more honest neutral game.
Mm.
So I think the game has changed for the better. I think it's a better game than it was before. But still, like there's some things like the nature of the game having B skills and B triggers, it just makes it kind of unfair. Like some characters just have too much. Like Rashid will always be good. Like Cammy
Yeah.
will always be good. And some
Mhm.
characters like Vega, they don't really have a B system, and I don't really like that.
Yeah, 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 that's true. But like, but I agree with you because before there was like a lot of robbery. So before the way a top player happens in general, aside from like having some neutral, in the previous seasons that I played was you need to have a very strong strategy building mindset. So the way and then a pretty good way of like understanding the risk reward. And so when you were playing, when I've noticed is that you have counters for a particular approach already. You know, the way you use birdie, you sure you take risks, but all of them are warranted just because of like you have high life, high damage, you have perfect set play if you hit them, you know. It was like perfect, very optimal. And you know what's so crazy about this is like Daigo was really confident that he was gonna beat you at Capcom Cup. Okay.
Really?
Mm-hmm. Really confident. Okay. But I was confident that he was gonna get bodied because when your training partner is Kaba, who's like so good, and that's your training partner, there's no way. I said, there's no fucking way. There's no birdie in this guy's level. How do you guys think you're gonna beat him? Like, there's no way. Like, you're just gonna win by default just because there's nobody in
Yeah.
your level like that plays your character. There's default. You're just gonna have an advantage already. Plus, you're good. Even though, let's say you run into like Momochi, who is like super veteran and very strong, but he's never really played a birdie in your level, he's gonna struggle. You know, he's gonna struggle against you. Like, so it was just crazy. And then when I saw you against Takedo in that Capcom Cup Finals, um, that was just insane because Takedo actually knows the birdie matchup in a way, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
He knew it, but Tokido, I feel this game is ruthless when it comes to
yeah,
mentality. Like if you become nervous, this game makes you pay for it easily. So Tokido, I think he sometimes get too desperate to end the round, and that
yeah.
cost him a lot versus me, versus Problem X,
Mhm.
versus Big Bird.
Yeah.
So I think that my style is because I have played against Dawson so much, like against Luiman,
Mhm.
that I created mentality, a strategy of just risk and reward. Like I grew up playing fighting games thinking like, okay, if Dawson hits me 5 times, it's okay. If I hit him one time with this option, then I might win.
Uh huh.
So I translated that to every single matchup in the game using heavy damage characters. So now
Yeah.
I think a lot of risk and reward. Like if I land this sweep, what happens? If he punishes me, what happens? If I throw this out, etc., etc. And I don't think that's normal. I don't think that's a normal way of playing the game. Like every single interaction, you're just thinking about that risk and reward, risk and reward.
No,
And
no, that's the that's an attribute in a fighting game to actually have a higher understanding of your risk reward in general. So the fact that you develop that in a very early stage of your career, that just will just guarantee you a lot of consistency throughout the life of the game. So that's really strong because like that's an like for instance like you see like all the legends, like all the top tier, all the top players in general, they have a very good understanding of risk reward, but they have footsies, decision making, fucking defense, offense, clutch, right? Those are like things, those are your attributes, and you have all of them already. Like, sure, everybody, all the top players in general can still improve in their little, in those attributes that's needed to win or to be great in general. But like I'm just saying, in general, you won't really be consistent in this game and be dominant in that way if you actually don't have an understanding with all those attributes.
yeah, you need the fundamentals for
Yeah.
sure.
Mhm.
Like you need everything, but you have to. Usually, players excel
Y-
at something,
yeah.
and when you make neutral like an offensive game, like it's really unfair. Like when we play neutral and you're thinking of keeping me out and poking me and setting
Mhm.
me up to whiff punish me, and I'm just thinking of like, okay, the moment he whiffs, I'm going to capitalize and just start the gamble heavy game. Like, and then people just start like, damn, he's just risking it all. But I'm thinking, like, okay, if I whiff this, nothing is gonna happen. If I hit him, he's gonna think I'm doing random stuff. So it's like mental heavy game. It's like if you play Itasan plays like that, you know? When
Uh
he
huh.
when he plays, he's always thinking of just getting a hit and killing you, but you have to concentrate on why is he getting that hit? What is he doing? It's not
Yeah.
completely random.
No, absolutely not. Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
the moment you think like, oh, this is random, you are losing right away
You
because
lost.
you
Yeah,
are.
yeah, yeah, for
Yeah.
sure. There's no way. There's no way. I like so like when I saw Itazan play, like sure it looks desperate and it looks random, but you can't be like you can't you can't be random and desperate and be consistent. Like there's a
Yep.
science behind it, and some players just don't understand like that at that I mean that kind of archetype in a way. But I actually respect that because it's not as easy as the other archetypes. Like I feel like if you main a grappler archetype, you have a lot of advantage in some ways, especially in tournaments too, because there will be nerves, right? So in tournaments, like most likely we would not want to take a risk. We will go with a safer option. But against a
Yeah.
grappler, they wouldn't really care about that because they think about the risk reward, you know. So it's kind of hard to fight a grappler specialist in a tournament. It's just too hard, especially 2 out of 3 Street Fighter 5. Holy shit, that's just rough.
Yeah.
That's
So
just rough.
what I'm trying to do now is use more characters to develop I think a more neutral mentality, not only thinking about the offense, but in general, just every single aspect of the game, mastering it, and
Mhm.
then being able to switch
Yeah.
the gameplay style. So when you expect me to go in, then I won't go in. But when I do go in, and I've been playing patient all game, and I start taking all of this risk and all of this stuff, it will be very hard to adapt because
Absolutely.
you don't really see a pattern in
Mhm.
you know
Well,
unless I talk to you, unless I tell you what I'm going to do. It will be very surprising, and I'm focusing on that since we have so many tournaments and stuff. I think you need a gameplay that is hard to adapt
yeah, I agree.
in short sets.
You know who actually did that first, like in the Street Fighter 5 was fucking Knuckle, dude. Imagine he plays
Yeah.
he plays Guile and he
That's true.
plays Mika. I was like, bro, this is a complete mind fuck. Like
That's true.
he's so good at that. It's like so he actually like was the first one that I've seen, and I talked to him about that. It's like, dude, you're just something else. You're just something else. And then Punk happened, and he just basically Punk like he showed us about the hit confirms, like how amazing his footsies were and his set play, his clutch also, like so he just changed the meta for everybody. And
Yeah,
yeah,
that's
it's
true.
crazy. And then it happens to you, and then you're like so clutch as well, so explosive, a totally different flavor. It's not just a complete YOLO, what people were saying. It's actually different, and it was just like, fuck, what the fuck are we really supposed to do against these new styles that you guys came up with? It was just really awesome to see that. But yeah, so what character do you like? Would you say you main now? Obviously, I know you play every almost every character, but I'm saying, like, what character you think you main now? Like when it all
Honestly,
comes to it, yeah.
I will say I still main Birdie
Mhm.
because I'm just trying to play every single matchup that I can play Birdie in, I will play him. I'm
Mhm.
just trying to not play bad matchups. Now I think it's it's too hard to win the bad matchups with Birdie, so I just try to counter pick all the matchups that are troublesome for him. But if I can play him, then I will use him because
Okay.
5 years playing him and such, it feels so natural to play him. I play faster, I think faster.
Bro,
So
I
yeah,
swear,
I,
if
I
I
will
had your
say
birdie,
Birdie.
if I had your birdie, dude, I would play birdie too. Okay, I'm saying, like, if I had your birdie, I'll definitely play that, like all day, every day. Like the way you play him, like it's so insane. And I know birdie is like easy to pick up, but very hard to master. I really feel that way because when I was playing birdie on the side, just playing for fun with my friends, it was pretty okay. But then I ran into like a Guile. I was like, how the fuck did they beat Guile again with this fool? Like, but I understand there's a way that you should be able to should take risks, where to headbutt in this spot, when to do this, when to whiff punish, when he's about to do his forward fierce, you whiff punish that. You do the sobot, you whiff punish, like so you walk back and you backdash. There's like a so like when to jump when the guy is so scared, worried about the ground already, then you jump and he's never ready to flash kick. So it's like fuck you, like so it's actually so much more into it. Yeah, but since we're
Yeah,
talking, yeah, go
I,
ahead.
I think I think Birdie also doesn't really need to rely on taking risk, and that's what makes him, such a strong character. Like Furo has a style of just waiting and poking you to death, and
Mm-hmm.
like when you fight Guile, you actually have to just realize if he's gonna throw a lot of booms or a lot of normals, and you can play on a spacing that you can react to the boom and with punish. But he has some normals that walk and advances, and those normals you can poke, and like it's just walk him to the corner doing that. But when you switch to an offense style game, then it's I don't know what to tell you. Like you can't really
Yeah,
expect, you know.
that's true.
Yeah.
Okay, so since we're talking about your baby, which is Birdie, um, like let's make a Birdie matchup chart.
Oh God.
Let me just ask you about this one because this is gonna be
uh,
insane.
the
Because
downplay starts.
no, don't. I mean, you could be honest. You could be downplay. It's all good. It's all good. But I'm just saying, like in general, this is gonna be interesting to see because there's so many people there that's saying like Birdie sucks. I understand he's not the best character, and he's not really close to top tier or probably A tier, but those are the other birdies that's saying he's not the MenaRD birdie that we all know. Okay, those are the only. That's the only thing